It doesn't happen loudly. It doesn't happen with a fight or a final message. Detachment begins in silence. It begins the moment you stop explaining yourself, the moment you stop trying to fix what was never yours to fix, the moment you realize you were the only one trying. You used to overthink every word, every change in her tone. You used to feel it deep in your chest whenever she pulled away. And you'd chase, you'd compromise, you'd make excuses for her distance, her coldness, her indifference, not because you were weak, but because you cared that deeply, because you believed that love meant effort, even when it wasn't being returned. But over time, something shifts. It's not a dramatic ending, it's a quiet breaking point. You don't raise your voice, you don't demand answers, you just stop. You stop showing up the way you used to. You stop filling the space she leaves empty. You stop sacrificing your peace for the illusion of connection. And that's when it begins. That's when she starts to notice. Not because you said something, not because you made a scene, but because your energy no longer reaches for her. The same attention she used to take for granted is now absent. The good morning texts that once arrived like clockwork are gone. The check-ins, the emotional safety net, the consistent presence, you've withdrawn it all. At first, she might not react. She might even enjoy the silence. She might tell herself she's finally got space. She'll post stories about independence. She'll caption photos with quotes about healing and choosing herself. She'll look unbothered, calm, empowered. But behind that performance is something real, something slowly unraveling, because deep down, she knows. She knows she was the one holding the match while you burned yourself trying to keep the connection alive. And now that you've stopped, there's nothing left to feed her pride. That's when she starts to spiral, not in chaos, but in confusion, in emptiness, in the growing realization that the attention she dismissed isn't coming back. She'll start checking your stories, watching your silence, wondering if someone else has taken the place she once held so easily. And she won't say it, she won't admit it, but it will eat at her, the absence of your presence. She won't call it regret at first. She might call it curiosity, a passing thought, an innocent scroll through your profile just to see how you're doing. But every time she sees you not reaching out, not reacting, not folding like you once did, something inside her shifts. Because the truth is, she didn't expect you to walk away. Not really. She thought the leash of hope she left, wrapped around you, would keep you there. She thought your heart was her safety net, her backup plan, her emotional home. But now, that door is closed, and she can feel it. She starts replaying old messages, trying to read between the lines, looking for the moment it all changed. She compares the version of you she once had to the version she sees now, focused, calm, detached. And for the first time, she feels the fear you once knew so well, the fear of losing something she can't get back. But here's the part that matters most. You didn't detach to hurt her. You didn't withdraw out of spite. You let go because you finally saw the truth, that holding on was hurting you more than walking away ever could. And in that truth, you found your power. Stoicism isn't about pretending not to care. It's about learning to care wisely, to give your heart only where it is safe to grow, to remain centered even as others try to pull you into their chaos. You've stopped needing her to acknowledge your value because you've remembered it for yourself. You've stopped waiting for her to change, to choose, to wake up, because now you've chosen yourself, and that quiet decision sends ripples through her world more than any angry words ever could. She begins to see the cracks in her own reflection, The way she pushed away someone who only ever wanted to understand her. And while she tries to distract herself with noise, with flings, with the illusion of control, nothing truly fills the space you once did. Because you weren't just another name in her messages. You were steady, present, real. And now that you've stepped back, the absence of that realness becomes deafening. She spirals, not because you punished her, but because you stopped saving her from the emptiness she refused to face. She tries to suppress it, to pretend she's still the one in control, that this detachment of yours doesn't bother her. But it does. Quietly, constantly. Because when you gave up on explaining yourself, when you stopped fighting to be understood, you took away her favorite game, managing your emotions while ignoring her own. And now, for the first time, she has to sit with the silence she used to weaponize. She has to feel the consequences of her coldness, her distance, her need to always stay one emotional step ahead. But now, the game is over, and you're not playing anymore. And while you've shifted your energy toward growth, discipline, solitude, and strength, she's stuck in a loop, checking, wondering, doubting. Because the very thing she once dismissed has now become the only thing she wants to feel again. But it's not there, not anymore. And here's the most stoic truth of all. You don't need her to spiral. That was never the goal. You don't need her to apologize, to confess, to admit what she lost. Because this journey was never about proving anything to her. It was about freeing yourself from the illusion that her care was ever something you had to earn. You've realized that peace is more powerful than passion, and clarity more valuable than chaos. You've stopped romanticizing inconsistency. You've stopped calling it chemistry when it was just confusion. And now that same calm that she once called boring has become the very thing she misses. Because there's something deeply unsettling about realizing the person you thought would never leave no longer looks back. She spirals, not out of heartbreak, but out of disorientation, because your detachment has forced her to face what she buried, her inability to give the love she expected to receive. And while she's still scrolling, still stalking, still secretly hoping for a message that will never come, you've moved on. Not bitter, not broken, just better. And she can feel it. That's the part that stings the most. She knows now. The day you detached was the day her control slipped, the illusion cracked, and the game ended, for good. The final lesson in detachment is this. You never needed them to come back. You just needed yourself to stop waiting. Detachment isn't revenge. It's not about showing them what they lost or hoping they finally feel your absence. It's about reclaiming your mind, your time, your spirit. It's about no longer handing over your peace for a few moments of attention. It's the quiet decision that your healing is more important than their confusion. And that's what changes everything. Because once you detach, you start to build. Your mornings become lighter, your thoughts clearer. The same energy you once used, trying to decipher mixed signals, is now used to grow, to evolve, to shape a life that's no longer built around someone else's inconsistency. You become grounded, calm, focused. The spiral that once belonged to you now belongs to her. Not because you wanted that, but because she created it. You simply stop participating. And somewhere deep inside, she knows it. She'll try to reconnect. Maybe not directly. Maybe through a story, a like, a random message out of nowhere. But by then, you've changed. You've tasted a peace she can't offer. You've seen your life without emotional games, without uncertainty, without the weight of proving yourself. And when she finally realizes she can't reach you anymore, not the way she used to, that's when the real spiral begins. Not out of love, but out of loss. Not because you're gone, but because the version of you who once stayed no longer exists. But you're not angry, you're not vengeful, you simply smile and keep walking. Because the day you detached wasn't just the day she spiraled, it was the day you woke up. You're no longer seeking someone to complete you. You've become whole on your own. And now, the only thing left to do is continue forward. Not to show them what they lost, but to honor everything you've gained. You don't chase anymore. You don't beg. You don't wait. You move. And that movement is freedom.